Bob, so many people are on their way to achieving success and they get this attitude from the people around them of, well, who do you think you are anyway? Can you expand on that a little bit?
I think that comes from two sides. First of all, the person that's studying is starting to change. And sometimes, though, they get so enthusiastic about it, they want to cram it down everybody else's throat at the same time. And that moves them further away. But it's a natural thing that you're going to get resistance because the other people don't understand where they're coming from. And let's face it, I mean, you're right out of the box when you start to study this. It isn't the mainstream. You're doing things that's totally different. It's not taught in school. A very small percentage really understand and live with this. So they're going to get a lot of flack. They have to understand that and understand that people don't know what they're saying and just let it go. If something's going wrong, it has a tendency to hold your conscious attention. Emerson said the only thing that can grow is the thing you give energy to. What we've got to do is stop ourselves just flat and say, wait a minute, I don't like that. What would be the opposite to that? And then write out what would be the opposite and then keep repeating it like a mantra if you have to. But we have a tendency to focus on what's wrong. And we've got to get away from that. And get away from any people. Don't let people talk to you about it.
One of the things that you taught me, Bob, that has been huge in my life is that force negates. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's a beautiful thing to learn because we have a tendency to want to do that. If something won't work, we're going to jam it. It won't. Force negates. Let is the key word. We let things happen. Now that doesn't mean we don't give it lots of energy. But force is not a good thing. There's no power in force. I think they get into abusive relationships because they attract them. And it's low self-esteem on their part. And when they understand that, they probably stop it. I think most abuse, it's a man's problem. It's not a woman's problem, more often than not. And I think if a man sees another man being abusive verbally or otherwise, he should let him know that that just isn't going to fly. You know, you're not going to put up with it and put a stop to it. But the person stays in. People do the thing they fear the least. They're probably more afraid of being alone than they are of being in a bad relationship. But if a person starts to develop their own self-confidence, the abusive relationships will go their way.
How does someone make more money, Bob?
If people want to earn a lot of money, they've got to understand they have to have multiple sources of income. You cannot have one source of income and become extremely wealthy. Or if you do, I don't know what it is. But with multiple sources of income, anyone can become wealthy. So it's worth studying. It's something we should understand. Now, when we talk about multiple sources of income, we're not talking about multiple jobs. That's what I thought it meant first. And I had 5 jobs passed out in the street. No. A source of income is where you provide service and you receive a reward. Working happens to be the worst way to earn money. We shouldn't work for money. We should be working for satisfaction, something that's meaningful. You provide service to earn money. And of course, if you want to really learn how to do it, study it and it'll happen. Find somebody that's doing it. I'm doing it. I help people study it.
You can do what the most successful people do in terms of financial success, and they look at the profit centers. They look at what makes the most money in the shortest amount of time. I mean, I'll give you an example. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from a gentleman that owns a $300 million real estate empire, and he said to me, I said, how do you run such a big company? Because I've just never had that many employees, but I've never had that kind of success either. How do you do that? And he said, it's real simple, Steve. I come into the office every day and I ask myself one question. What makes me money the fastest? And then I do that. And then the second question is, what makes me money the second fastest? And then I do that thing. And then third and fourth and fifth and so on. And he says, and that's how I built the $300 million company from scratch. He said, most of my competitors are focused on all these peripheral things that really don't add to the bottom line. He says, I don't do that. I focus on the profit.
In that weight loss model, we're in problem-solving mode. There's something we want to get rid of, and as soon as, I might diet and exercise, and then as soon as the scale shows that I've lost a couple of pounds, I'm back on the brownies.